Yo, Jenny here. And as you can see, we are back on F1 22 as always. And in today's video, we are going to be discussing a topic that has been circulating quite a bit recently, not just in my comment section and on my streams, but I've seen it in many others as well. And that question is FRA Elite legit, or is he cheating? Because the pace he has is absolutely incredible. And today, we are going to be looking at that a little bit closer, discussing it. And again, please let me know what your thoughts are. And what we're going to do, first of all, is go into the time trial on Xbox, go make sure we're in the Ferrari as well, download his setup, just so that we get a bit of telemetry, because if you're unaware of this feature, there is something called Racenet made by EA and Codemasters, and I have to say it's probably the best feature that we've actually had on the F1 games for quite a while. And it's a telemetry tool that is completely free, and you can compare your times against anyone on all platforms across the world, and you can see your steering input, your braking input, your throttle input. You've got a whole range of different camera angles to choose from. It really is an amazing device, and that's something that we'll be showcasing here today and using to discuss what my thoughts are. And to put it simply, I don't think FRA Elite, or Otis Lawrence his name is, I don't think he is cheating at all. And I know there has been, over the course of the last year or so, definitely more players who have been known to be cheating when playing the F1 games in quite competitive leagues such as PSGL or WOR. Those have all been on PC, and it is significantly easier to be cheating on PC. But I know it's not impossible on Xbox as well. But honestly, I feel that Elite is putting a lot of time on the game, and when we go ahead and watch his inputs here, you will see exactly what I mean. So, here we are with Racenet, and if you just simply type in Racenet, Codemasters on Google, you will be able to either create an account or sign into your existing account, which I think everyone's had to make an account at the start of this game. And what this does is that it takes your time trial laps and puts them on here where you can compare it with everyone. And that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. From the lap that you just saw from myself, I recorded it today. I used exactly the same setup as well. And we're going to take a look at the inputs. And for me to explain why I think Elite is one of the fastest drivers on the game, and in a legit manner as well. So what we're going to do is we'll go watch the lap on full first, and then we're going to start to slow it down, watch it in around 50%, and discuss what we found. So always pay attention to the steering, the braking, and the throttle application. And let's watch a full lap first. So let's go into this turn one. You can see he has, well, we did have a little bit more speed than what I was doing, and I think you've got to take into account his exit from the final corner of the previous lap. Let's go through into here. You can see it's fairly level at this stage, but as we go through the apex, you can see this is where he's started to make a bit of gains. We actually take a wider line, but then during the apex, he just gets that boost of acceleration, and a lot of people seem to think that this is due to a bit more grip or something that he's doing to the game or something like that. But again, we will dive into that a little bit more. See, he takes a bit of a tighter line here and gets a really, really good exit. So actually uses quite a bit more of the track on the exit as well, and you can see as a result of that his straight line speed is going up, but it's nothing too crazy in terms of the difference at all. And now coming through into the Maggots and Becketts, you can see this is the real-time gap between us as we're going through the lap. He gets a little bit of a better exit, but we don't do too bad through this section. Goes completely to a straight line, we go all the way to the left, and as we come towards the end of the hangar straight, he goes in a little bit tighter and then uses again a little bit more of the track, so always just utilising the track as much as possible. Cafeteria, we break a bit deep, then he gets a bit of a better exit as well, and that is a lap of Silverstone. But what we're going to do now is we are actually going to slow it down to 50%. You can see these are the different kind of camera angles you can use as well, so there's a whole variety that you can choose, even the TV pod, cockpit, and there's one where you can actually just go absolutely anywhere, which is pretty amazing to see, in all honesty. So we're just going to stay on board with what we did before, so going at 50%. So as discussed at the start of the previous lap, he's going to have a little bit of maybe of a bit of a better exit. We're in the blue and he is in the yellow. And coming to here, see it's not syncing up correctly, but he is going a little bit faster. So if you keep looking at it, see he's going about 5 kilometers an hour faster from getting a little bit of that better exit. But going through turn 1, it's fairly close through here, so it takes a bit of a tighter line, and we take a bit of an outer line going to here. But then this is the first major difference, so he just carries a lot more momentum through the corner. And this is something I discuss in my coaching sessions a lot with people. It's not about being on the inputs as much as possible or braking as late as possible, because a lot of people think more is better. Sometimes it's about being as efficient as you can on the input. So as we come down into here, you know, this is the brakes. We get to 100% much quicker than what he is doing. So at this stage here, we're slowing the car down more, and you can see he's already carrying now about 10 kilometers an hour faster into the corner. So he eventually does get up there, but he only gets there for a split second. But watch how he comes off the brakes. So coming through into here, we've come off a bit quicker, but then we hold it there for a while because we've kind of killed the momentum a bit too much. But coming through here, he's just coming off the brakes in a bit of a quicker way. So we're more on the brake pressure. And you can see he's going to use a lot more of the track on the outside, which allows him to get on the power more, because his wheel was a bit closer to being straight than what ours is. So he's using a bit more of the track going through here. So pretty equal on the throttle coming to some, but then going through here, you can see we're using much more of the brake. So he really likes to use the downforce of the car to use the brake, whereas we actually like to use the brake itself. So coming through to here, you'll be able to see he's turning a bit more now, so using more of the actual downforce itself. But watch the throttle. This is the really key difference between us, and not just between myself and Elite, but between him and many other drivers as well. So if you watch the throttle, he goes to the throttle earlier, but he's always about that 5% higher than what I am. So I am getting my wheel a bit straighter sooner, because that's really the goal for me, is to try and keep the wheel as straight as possible and use the track at the exit. But he's turning more, but he's on the power more as well, which for me is a bit alien, and for a lot of other people as well. He's very confident as he's still turning into the corner to get up towards that 40, 50, 60-ish%. Whereas with me, I like the car to kind of be at that stage where it's about to start unwinding, going back to the centre. So once you stop turning more into the corner, the wheel has that point where it's about to start to unwind and move back towards being straight. That's when I like to go under power. But you can see here, look at the difference. It's an absolutely huge difference. We're actually carrying a bit more speed at this stage, but you'll see how that benefits him on the traction on the exit. So now we go up on the power, but there's still about that, 5% or so difference. Now he starts to unwind the wheel much more, and you can see 4 kilometers an hour difference. That's going to carry itself all the way down that straight. So he gets 100% a bit quicker. So as he's turning throughout a corner, he really likes to use the downforce, using quite high gears as well, and uses the throttle to generate that rotation. That's something he really does like to do. So as we come towards the end of this first sector, let's see what the brakes are like coming through into here as well. So you can see he's carrying quite a lot more speed going to here. So see again, it was about 4 kilometers an hour on the exit, and that momentum has kept on going. So a lot of people saying that maybe he's got 1% extra top line speed. We're both using the same setup. As far as I'm concerned, that's just because he's just got a bit of a better exit, and that momentum's just carrying itself down the straight. Now coming through into here, very similar again. We're using more of the brake, then coming off it a bit quicker, but then we hold it there for longer. You can see he's just a bit smoother with his approach where he's come off the brake. You can see we're going a bit hot into here, so he's just kind of managing that momentum just a bit better than what I'm doing through here. And now he goes on the power to get that rotation again, to use all the track on the exit. And now he's carrying a bit more speed. And then coming into this right-hander, I think it's Luffield it's called. It's going a bit tighter, and you'll see the throttle again going through here, how he used it to get the rotation. You can see again that very short, as he's still turning quite a lot during the corner and being quite tight, he really likes to use the power to get the rotation. So look how aggressive he goes on. So we'll move it back just a little bit. So if you watch the throttle through here, yeah, he really likes to get to that 50% quite quickly. So he, in that initial stage, as you're turning through the corner, a lot of drivers, even including myself, like to kind of let the car do its thing, let the car rotate for itself, using the aero and downforce. But he kind of forces it with the aero and the throttle at the same time. So it's just always at 5% a little bit higher on the throttle. And you can see, as a result of that, the apex speed is about 6 kilometers an hour difference at this stage. Now he's back on the full power. And on the exit, see again, it's about 6 kilometers an hour. So on the exit, if we maybe sync up a little bit more, so we can see here, so the difference is about, obviously my car's now a little bit more ahead, so it's about 3 kilometers an hour's difference. Let's see what it is going towards the end of the straight itself. So you can see going down through into here, it was about 3 kilometers an hour difference. Still very much the same at this stage, so yeah, about 3 or 4. And when we go towards the end of the straight, you can see he's gaining a little bit of time back because of the exit he's done. See, it's still about 4 kilometers now difference, so using exactly the same setup. So very, very equal. So no real advantage with the straight line speed or anything like that at all. See, still about 5 kilometers now difference. And now as we go into, I think it's Cops, I believe. Let's see what happens as we go through it here. So again, it's gained a little bit of time back because he's had that better exit before, but nothing that would suggest that he is doing something a bit dodgy in terms of getting the straight line speed. Let's carry through to here. See the throttle, he actually lifts off the throttle a bit more than what I do. Lifts it off more, but then comes back on quicker. So it's really important to know where to carry the speed. Sometimes going fast in, fast out isn't always the case. So I was actually a little bit too much on the power there. I kind of paid the price on the exit, and you can see here again, he uses a little bit more of the track, and as a result of that, he's now about 4 kilometers an hour faster, even though our Ghost is still a little bit ahead with this telemetry. That just shows how much he's actually benefited from doing that. And now as we go into Maggots and Beckett's, you'll see pretty much going to be almost neck and neck going through into here as we wait for temperature to catch up. So again, still about 4 kilometers an hour difference, so no real difference going into there. And now going to this left-hander, it's going to be flat out through here, and it's going to be completely flat out through the right-hander as well. So very equal for this. He stays into a bit more the middle of the track, and quite similar to what I did on Cops. Going through into this, we carry a bit too much speed, so a bit too much on the throttle from myself. So he's a little bit more patient. So we're actually carrying a lot more speed in here. But then that's going to disrupt the momentum on the exit of Maggotts and Beckett. So he's a bit more calm through there. And then he can actually get that power a bit smoother. So you can see again that 5% getting the wheel a bit straighter, a bit sooner, which means then he can then go on the power a bit more smoothly on the exit. And let's see what the speed is going to be in kilometers an hour. So right here, it's completely neck and neck. He gets that 100% just a fraction earlier than what I did. Let's see what the speed is at the end of the straight. So we keep it to the left-hand side. A bit tighter on that exit as well. Just try and minimise the distance of the track a little bit. But as you can see, at this stage, the speed is very, very similar. See the delta there. So he did get a little bit of a better exit, but nothing too crazy at all. And yeah, I'd say it's about 3 or 4 kilometers an hour difference. So now the momentum's kind of caught itself up. And just a little bit. And then you can see, right at this point, we're going at exactly the same speed. And as we come towards the end of the Hangar Straight, it's probably going to be the case that I'm braking a bit too much again. So you can see, definitely braking a bit too much. So he's always just he's just having that higher minimum speed all the time. That's something he likes to do. And now he's just very, very smooth on the power. Then pretty equal on the power. We actually get on the power a bit earlier than him going through this corner. And you can see we actually got a bit of a slightly better exit at this stage. And the speed is pretty much identical going down into the final chicane. So we actually probably got a little bit of a better run going through that corner there. So it's probably one of the corners where we did maybe gain a slight bit of time. But if we watch the brakes coming through to here, see again, just a bit too quick on going 100% on the brakes. Then we're coming off a bit quicker. He's a bit more controlled. So it's a lot more of a gradual motion. Very, very similar here. But you can see again with the throttle very, very early to get that rotation. So using a lot more of the power to get the rotation. And he's in a higher gear as well, which is something that seems to be very rewarding on this game. Really smooth on the power. Lifting off. And you can see again with the throttle. Just the moment where it's very, very difficult to get the wheel straight. He's just very confident at going on that power. Keeps it there. And then he gets to 100% pretty quickly. So very confident on the exit of this corner. See in this last sector, it's about almost a 10th of a second. And then coming across the line. See the speed difference as well just before he hits the line. See, he's getting quite a bit of time from that himself. And that is a lap of Silverstone. And yeah, I think this feature is very, very useful to have. Please let me know what your thoughts are. In my opinion, as I said, I think he is legit. I think it is much harder to cheat on Xbox as well. And I just think this guy has had so many hours in this game. He's got the muscle memory down pretty much perfectly. Yeah, he's someone that is going to be a very, very special driver in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.